time for the Salt and Sass podcast when we share our love for the wonderful world of board games with you, whether you're a gaming veteran or just starting your tabletop journey. Welcome to episode, I had to check the script, 73. I couldn't remember. Can't count to 73, but it's episode 73. I'm Suzanne.
And I'm Mandi.
And after everything goes downhill after you hit 65, that's all I'm going to say. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. It's going to be a day. I can already tell. Mandi, it's great to see you. And here we are.
Me too.
Our second time using this fancy new software that you set up for us. Recording, putting the video out. How'd that go first time?
It's a struggle. It's funny. I'm used to using a more complicated program, but I know that complicated program. So I apologize for the audio on the last one. It wasn't the standard that I would like for the video specifically, but we're going to try it again and see how it goes. But I did like the layout. I thought the layout was a bit more dynamic. So hopefully people enjoyed it and we'll give it another try and see how it goes.
And as we're going through this, for sure, whether you're watching on the video and you make a comment on the video, or whether you want to email us, saltandsassgames@gmail.com, with any comments about the audio podcast, or drop it in the guild notes, please do, because we're fiddling with some stuff and we want your feedback on that. All right, Mandi, we have a good show planned today, some crowdfunding, some games we've been playing, and what I think is a very cool game pie that you selected at the end of the show. But, you know, being the omnigamers that we are, we have to start with any kind of video game action before we start all the board game talk.
Yes. Okay. So I have like a full plate of things here. So do you want me to do the video game stuff first or the other stuff first?
I want you to follow your heart, Mandi. Whatever.
Okay.
However your spirit moves you.
Okay, let me run down the list. I'll make it quick, everyone, because I know board games, that's what we're here for, but little diversion
it's our
from
podcast,
that.
Whatever.
Exactly. So the first thing I want to talk about is Dungeons and Dragons. And you're like, well, okay, cool. So I've been playing with a fun new group with some people that some of you may know, some of you may not know, friends, but they're all friends. And through me. So everybody knows me in this group, but it's great because, bringing people together. It's a really, it's a diverse group. And shout out to the person leading the sessions, Emma. So Emma's partner was featured on the show last episode. So Aaron Netramel, and Emma's fantastic. And so thank you. I just want to say thank you. You've been spending a lot of time and a lot of patience with us because we're different levels of experience within Dungeons and Dragons. And she's been wonderful. So shout out. Thank you so much, Emma, for that. And we're having a great time. I also realized that I think I cheated playing a lot of solo D&D because I'm like, oh yeah, I think I wasn't supposed to do that because I'd like to play with magic characters that do magic. So I'm playing a cleric in this one specifically, but I've tried a wizard, and they're the most more complicated, kind of classes
you have to have
to
all
pick.
the spells that you prepare and everything.
Yeah. So I have the new version of the 5e rules, and I was like, okay, so for the most part, they're the same few differences. But yeah, I realize I'm a big cheater, and so relearning a few things, but it's good. So now I'll know going for next time. But a lot of people are using D&D Beyond, so the system kind of does everything for you. You're adding in your, all your proficiencies and all that, it's done for you. I'm trying to do it manually so I can fully understand the game. And then if I want to switch to that, I will. You know what I mean? So
smart. Yeah, I do. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. So D&D session, I just wanted to do shout out to Emma and group. You all are wonderful, having a really great time. I'm going to be sad when it's over. Next up, I want to talk about, so I did a video not too long ago. I'll put a link somewhere here. Thank you for reminding me about links because I forget. I put them in the video and then I forget to put them in the description. But Gamegenic came out with a collection of new kind of storage organizational boxes, the teal and pink collection. And they had to send your girl some stuff because if you look at my background here, this is my room. I mean, come on. Those colors are staring you in the face. So I did a little video going through that if you want to see what they look like. Oh my gosh. They are, chef's kiss, gorgeous. And I'm not just saying that because they sent me all stuff. I tell you, the color combination is amazing.
They're your colors. I mean, let's face it. That's totally your color vibe.
I'm into it. And the products, there are a couple specifically, I know, Suzanne, that you would love because you know how we're always talking about our cards and you want to see the cards a little bit better. They have a clear kind of side panel that you can put your, the character card in it so you're able to see it a little bit better. So anyway, I'm not going to get into all the details, but some really good stuff there. Check out the video. Links will be video here in description. If you're watching the video, we'll put it on the forum possibly. I'll talk to Suzanne about that after if we want to.
I'll put it in the notes.
Yeah, you'll put it in the notes? Okay, perfect. Yeah. So I don't edit the podcast audio part, as you can see, because I know none of you things.
Put it in the show notes for you, baby.
And there were also some Nexus deck blocks. Now, Suzanne, you also got some of these.
Yeah, this is from Quiver Time. And God, those things are sturdy. Those things are great. I love them. Yeah.
Yeah, and we got to provide some feedback. Glad to see they listened to them. But they're almost like like Lego blocks. I don't know, I probably shouldn't say that, but building blocks that you can put together.
Interchangeable
There you go.
building bricks. Yeah.
There you go. That's probably the better way to say it. So they have a few of those to try, and I think people will like to take a look at those for for their collection travel, however you want to do that to keep your cards very sturdy. And I do like they actually kind of like stick together. I've used them that way, and they travel very well. So again, those are on the video. I talk about that. Whew. Okay. That's all new stuffs that I got. Last thing I'm going to talk about quickly. I'm not getting into too many details because I've been playing a lot of Date Everything, and I'm quickly trying to finish up the Golden Idol puzzle games because I have them on Xbox, but I started playing them on Netflix for some reason. And I'm like, okay, let me finish because they're leaving on the 14th, which would have been past actually by the time this podcast comes
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I was quickly trying to finish that. So I just quickly want to talk about just the last few games I picked up from the Steam sale that is currently now over, but these might catch your eye. Suzanne, actually, offline, we were talking, and I didn't write it on this list, but I should have. We'll talk about that one instead. Cribbish.
Yep. As soon as you told me that, as soon as you said that name, I'm like, what's this now? Yeah.
So I was like, hey, I mean, I like cribbage. Looks cool. It was like $3. I think it's like six something Canadian, $5 US now that the sale's over. But Suzanne, tell me, what was the description of someone who didn't care for it?
Oh, they said it was. Oh, well, there were a couple, right?
Sure.
One was, oh, it's like Balatro, but with cribbage instead. I hated Balatro. I'm like, okay, well, good to
Sure.
know. I love Balatro. And then
Right.
another one was, it's like Balatro, but with a less well known and beloved game. Like, my friend, plenty of folks love and know.
Right. Like,
And so actually the negative reviews. So first of all, you bringing it up, I had no idea this game existed until you
right.
mentioned it, Mandy. And then actually reading the negative reviews helped me decide to purchase the game.
Love that that's what did it for you. So, but I'm happy about it, and it's not super expensive. So that's Cribbish, Cribbish. So if you want to check that out, again, I haven't played it. These are just ones I picked up quickly. I'm like, this looks cool. I'll give it a try. Another one that I picked up is called The Wandering Village. I'm pretty sure I played a variation of this on the Xbox because they had one,
Probably, yeah.
yeah, on Xbox on Game Pass. But this is a new one that's come. So it's either new or they just launched the PC port, and it literally is one of those games where you're trying to create your village, cozy type game, but your village moves. It's like literally a
Yep.
traveling village. I was like, you know what? Why don't I give this a go? I don't know if I think it is available publicly now, but yeah. So I do believe that it was on Game Pass. So if you tried it there, or at least the sister game, it's something very similar. So looking forward to doing that. These ones take time, so I gotta have to push that one a little bit later because I'm a little backlogged, like everyone else. So we'll get to that. And the last one I'll bring up is Bloomtown. So I don't know if you've heard about this one, Suzanne. And here we are back with JRPGs, which I'm a little on the fence about, but this one looks super cute because it's got that pixel kind of art, but they describe it as so it's actually called Bloomtown: A Different Story, and it's a narrative JRPG mixing turn-based combat, monster taming, and social RPG. I mean, there are some nice words in there that I like in a game, and the art style is calling my name. So I figured I'd give it a shot, and it's got very good reviews, and I believe there is a demo. So if you want to try it, you can give it a go. So there you go. So that's Bloomtown: A Different Story. That's it for me. That's a lot, but
Oh,
I know
that's
Suzanne
great.
also picked up a few things in the Steam sale, or just the last few there that you grabbed.
Well, right, yeah. So after the Steam sale, quite frankly, and I think they timed it on purpose, which is
Mhm.
understandable because they didn't want their brand new titles part of that massive
Sure.
sales effort. So Islanders is
Mm.
a tile laying game, kind of it's not a tile laying game. It is an object placement game, but I think it plays out a little bit like a tile laying game,
Okay.
even a Dorf Romantic or something like that. You get an island and then you get a set of objects. Maybe it's the city set. So you get a capitol building and then mansions and houses, or maybe it's the bricklayers set. Then you get sand collectors and a brick making unit, whatever. And then you have this island and you have to put the buildings and they score points based on different adjacencies. So maybe you can't have two sand collection near each other and you want mansions next to each other and next to the capitol building and that kind of thing. It's stylish and I really enjoyed Islanders. And I think a number of folks who are listening to this have probably played Islanders. Literally just a few days before we recorded this, Islanders New Shores released, and this is kind of this sequel game to it. So new buildings, new effects, new, right? And I really liked Islanders, and Islanders New Shores was $9, I think, on release. And so I picked it up and
Nice.
I played it for a couple minutes. Really like it so far. If you like
Cool.
Islanders, you'll probably like Islanders New Shores, is my guess.
Okay.
Then some of you listening know I am a huge fan. In fact, I mentioned these games not too long ago of the older Patapon games.
I
These
remember
are
that.
rhythm fighting games where you get little troops and they make patapon or patapon is the attack, or patapon is the advance, and patapon, and you're pushing different buttons. I obsessively played these years ago. I had the discs on my PS Vita. I loved these games so much.
Wait, you had a PS Vita?
I
didn't
did.
know that.
I still do somewhere in the house.
Okay.
And they remastered Patapon 1 and 2 and re-released it as a set on Steam. Patapon 1 and 2 remastered. It was $30, Mandy. I didn't even hesitate. Drop that $30 like bam, because
Yeah.
oh my God, I'm so excited. I've already started playing Patapon 1 again, brought it all back. Love those little moving eyeballs. If you see the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. Thank you for bringing this back, Sony. And then finally, I just thought I'd mention, this has been, as Mandy knows, this has been a kind of a wild week. I've got some, stuff going on. That's life. And every once in a while, you get into that moment and you feel like doing an activity, but you just don't have a ton of brain space. You can't learn a new game,
Sure.
or you can't do something that you need to continue on and remember later. So Mandy, we've got the app version of Dominion,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been playing a bunch of Dominion the last
Really?
week. Yeah, just trying the different
Interesting.
expansions, losing to the medium AI. Of course, it is by the publisher that is phenomenal at AI. Teresa literally teaches seminars on coding, the opponents, the automated
Yeah.
opponents in video games. But yeah, been really playing, and the new iteration that they released, real good. They did a great job on it. So I've been randomly playing a lot of Dominion, but
Nice.
that's there. So all right, enough of that. All right, let's talk about a couple crowdfunding campaigns, because I think both of us are excited about the ones that we have, and we'll move into some games we've been playing.
Yeah.
Mandy?
All right. Well, I'm going to start with one that, I feel like I have a lot of these games, and with good reason, because
I'm so excited about this.
I know. So, Paperback Adventure. So, this is on GameFound. If I don't say that, I'll forget to say it later.
Yeah, good call.
And this is by Tim Fowers. So if you're familiar, Tim Fowers did Paperback. There's the card game, and there were a few other ones. Hardback. There are a few that are in this kind of realm of spelling type games.
Typewriter,
and Typewriter. There's another one. Yeah, and I have Typewriter. I haven't played it yet. I'm trying to find a group. The amount of people in my group that don't like spelling games is beyond me. I love a good spelling game.
Games are highly contentious, yeah.
Yeah, I noticed. Anyway, I digress. So back to Paperback Adventures. This is by Tim Fowers. It's on GameFound, ends July 16th. So it's tight. I think by the time this comes out, it's the same day that it ends. So if it hasn't ended already, that's okay. There's usually a button that if you want to late back, you'll be able to do that. It says it takes about 90 minutes to play, and it comes in different sizes. There's a big box at 110. I have this in US dollars here. And they have Binding Nexus and Iron Knee, which are the editions, for $60. So if you're like me, I do own Paperback Adventures in some of the other boxes, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. You can just get the editions for 60 US, or the big box, which has everything, for 110 US. And they describe it as a roguelike deck building word game where you battle as pulp fiction characters. I personally love the art on these. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's so great.
It's so great. Yeah. So, this is actually one to play solo. You can play it with another player, but I actually like to play this one solo, because it's you against the monsters, right? And it's spelling words. I mean, get those words in and get that monster, and get those abilities to help you build even better words and better attacks. Who doesn't love that? So, battling with health to take out the monster. The expansion adds the martial arts character Ani, which is funny. Anyway, if you know, you know. And the ability to play 4-player co-op with Binding Nexus. So that's something that is new. So I'm really excited about this. Listen, I say I'm not going to spend money, but I'm 100% going to get this. So Paperback Adventures for me is yes, please.
Yeah, great choice. I'm excited about it. Interesting that you can play 4-player co-op. I can't imagine this ever being a game. I'll be just because straight up, I'm a huge fan of the game.
Yeah.
Huge fan of Fowers. I can't ever imagine wanting to play this game at 4. Ever.
Yeah,
at 4 players.
I
just can't see how that would be fun for me personally, but getting new characters to play, definitely fun. Each their own. All right. And quickly for me, Paper Apps Labyrinth. This is on Kickstarter. I have backed today all of the Paper Apps games that this publisher has made, and I just realized I don't know what do they go by?
Oh,
They go by
Tom. Oh gosh, it's gonna drive me wild. Oh,
Gladden
was
Designs
it?
is what it is. Yeah, Tom Brinton, but
There
then
you go. See,
Gladden
I knew.
Design. Tom Brinton, but Gladden Design is like the
Sorry.
publisher name.
Yes.
Sorry about that. And they have Paper Golf, and they have Paper Dungeons, which was the first one. Fell in love with Paper Dungeons, right?
Yeah.
Amazing game.
Super
Well, here
good.
we have Paper Apps Labyrinth. This is a spiral bound little notepad, and you just flip it up, and it's intended that if you have a D6 and a pencil, that's all you need. And it's so tiny. It's just a little flip notebook if you get the printed edition. And this one is more inspired, not necessarily by choose your own adventure, but it almost feels like a retro dungeon delve game where every page is an encounter that you have as you go dungeon delving, and there's combat and things like that you resolve. I'm so excited. It looks like it was made with a lot of love. And the way that these work is the designer creates some kind of algorithm, I don't know, and it procedurally generates every book. So every book is basically different.
Right.
Maybe there's some repeats. I don't really know how it works, but basically you can also back. So you can back for printed versions, $8 a pop, or you can back for PDF versions, which are $5 a pop. Now, let's say I back for 5 PDF copies. Each one of those is completely different from the other one. And that's just how they've designed this thing. It's so cool. It works really, really well with Paper Apps Dungeon and Golf. I love that. And I'm excited to try it here with Paper Apps Labyrinth. Like I said, $5 for a PDF, $8 for a printed book. It's on Kickstarter. It ends August 5th. That's Paper Apps Labyrinth.
Yeah, definitely getting the PDF for this now. I can use it with my, my little remarkable tablet.
Right. That's actually very cool. That's so
Fancy.
cool. Alrighty, with that, let's move into the heart of the episode and talk about some of the games we've been playing.
All right. Well, I'm taking it back a little here with the games.
I see this. This is awesome.
The people that I've had this game on my shelf for ages, and I have the remake. So they had redone this game. So I have that version, but it's been on my shelf for quite a while. And that is Ginkgopolis. And this is designed by Xavier Georges, and art is by Gaël Lanurien, and it's published by Pearl Games. I don't know if the original was published by Pearl Games. I don't think so.
I think so, actually. Yeah.
Was it really? Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't realize that. Okay, so they just new art and whatnot on the box. Plays 1 to 5 players, and it takes about 45 minutes, and it retails for about $59 Canadian, which I think is pretty good considering the pieces you get in the box. So Ginkgopolis, it's a tile playing game, and we all have our player colors, and it plays up. The 5-player threw me off. I did not think that was going to work, but we'll get there in a second. 5 players, it makes me worried because it's going to be long. But you all have set amount of player colors, but it's weird because the player colors kind of stay in a supply that's available for everyone, but they're there for you. And then you have a screen. So you're going to set up a screen, and you're going to have your pieces behind your screen. And the goal of the game is to construct, which is really cute because they have crane meeples, but okay, I'm a little excited. We'll get to that. But you're trying to construct tiles, and you're trying to get your resources on tiles that are, certain levels high, having areas that have majority of your resources. These are ways that you're going to collect victory points. There are also cards that you can acquire that will have end game points as well. It's not a complicated game, but I feel like it took me a minute to wrap my head around playing cards. Oh yeah, you're supposed to keep that card, not use this card, just depending on how you played it. And so the game starts with everybody getting 3 character cards, and that's going to give you your starting resources and bonuses, for your game actions. And then on a turn, you're going to choose from a construction urbanization card from your hand simultaneously. So everyone will have cards in hand. I think the game starts, you draft to get your cards, your first set of hand there, and go from there. But everyone chooses a card, puts it face down. Sometimes you have a tile that goes with this card. I'll explain. So let me stop there, rewind. The setup is going to have a grid of tiles, and they have some starter ones, and the different ones have the different colors like blue, red, and all of these colors. And the cards that you have will correspond to the number, and the number on the tiles will correspond to the cards that you have in hand. You'll also have these circular tiles around the board with alphabet letters on them, like A, B, C, and so forth. And the reason why that matters is because that's going to help you grow the board depending on the card you play. You can place a tile in one of those letters, and the card will say E, if that's the one you've chosen, and you have a tile that goes there, then you'll be able to place it. Ideally, you want to try and place tiles that are the same color to extend those areas, but then you also want to have the most resources in those areas as well. But there are ways to play cards and build over certain tiles so you can change the color, but depending on how high it is and whatnot, you're going to have to, or sorry, the number differentiation will make it more expensive potentially to play, and you also have to pay for the changing of color. So this happened a few times to me in game where I'm like, yeah, I got this big blue section, and someone, but nope, I'm gonna make this tile yellow, and just broke it right up. I was like, are you joking me right now? Or I thought I had majority, only to find everybody's moving on in with their pieces because they, build on top. Oh, let me just put some pieces here. And you get, depending on how you build, you can get resources based on how many, I think it's how many tiles high it is. Or yeah, I think that's what it is.
Right,
Yes.
right. Yep.
We'll give you those resources. So, I mean, it's good to build on higher buildings. Not only it's giving you resources, but if you can get your pieces in there, it's giving you more for majority later on. So building out is really good to expand areas, building on top of to either change color to make it work for you, or just getting resources or, getting more in that area. These are things that could happen. So these are just ways that you can change the landscape of the board, if you will. You can also keep these cards in your employee, so in your tableau. So when you do, it'll say on the bottom, like if you do said action, oh, look at that, I did this action, so I get whatever bonus it gives me. It could be a resource or a tile or something to that effect. Tiles are hard to come by. I was struggling on the tiles. I would have a card, I'm like, this is great, but I don't have a tile to play, to do anything with. Lots of resources behind the screen, but not. And I think the game ends when somebody is out of resources, and I believe you finish the round. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. You have these little cranes that you're supposed to put out when you are showing which ones had been built. So it's really important because you can't build over tiles with those on them, but they're going to come off and then you'll start the next round. I can't believe I hadn't played this game ever, and people were saying it's so good. I know you had mentioned
It was
to me,
out of
Suzanne.
print for a long, long
Maybe
time.
that's
It was
why.
very hard to get for a long time.
And I've had it on my shelf for like years. I bought it when they reprinted right away, and then I think you're right, and then it went out again, like just sold out.
Right.
And people were having a hard time finding it. So I was like, okay, it's an older game, but I'll get it played. And I'm happy I played it. It was really great. I really enjoyed it. And we even played with someone who that's like not really their game. And they're like, no, I really enjoyed the strategy. I did horribly in my first game. I was trying to figure it out, but then we play again and I'm like, okay, I get it. Still did horribly, but I had a really good time and, try to change your strategy every time. So I totally see why people really enjoy this game because it's not, the rules themselves are not super challenging. It's just trying to find the way like, okay, I think I have it. No, you don't. You got to keep it. You got to keep that.
You don't.
Yeah, you got to keep that energy throughout. So, and someone was saying online, it's one of those games that plays really well with two players. I only played it with, unfortunately, I didn't do that player count. I did it the slightly higher player count. But someone was saying that they really enjoyed it as that and solo. I might play the solo. I don't know. Suzanne, you'd be able to tell me if this is a game I'd play solo or not.
I don't know that you would. Well, you would, but would you?
Sure.
You probably wouldn't be your go-to. I can't say I've played it solo. Maybe I can't remember if I have, so I shouldn't speak out of turn.
Okay, so one I might consider. We'll see. Maybe I'll try it on a stream. Don't hold me to it. We'll see how I feel about it. But overall, I really like it. I see why people enjoyed the game. So yeah, if you haven't given it a try, it's an older title, but well worth it. So Ginkgopolis.
Absolutely great choice. And it actually makes me want to play it. I recently had my friends Carrie and Jason over and we wanted to play Le Grand Ha because Carrie hadn't played Le Grand Ha in person before. And it took me, I needed a round to remember all the little rules. But once you got into that, I was like, oh yeah, this is why I love this game. It's so good. And games like Le Grand Ha, games like Ginkgopolis, games that are 10 years old, 8 years old, 15 years old. There are so much good stuff in that mix. So I'm glad that you got it to the table.
Yeah, very strong.
Not quite so old. My first game of the show is Moonrakers. This is designed by Max Anderson, Zach Dixon, and Austin Harrison, with illustrations by Lunar Saloon. Cool name. And it's published by Ivy Studio. Ivy Studio is developing a reputation for making really high quality, fancy production games. Cool. I'd heard about Moonrakers for a while and really didn't know what it was about. It has a very impressive looking box cover, very cool looking cover. And so I'd kind of been wanting it. And I ended up picking up a copy at a convention sometime last year and finally started getting it to the table recently. But the game's like 5 years old now, I think. So
yeah.
Time flies, right?
It does.
But that's okay. Moonrakers is a deck building game about shipbuilding, alliances, negotiation in space. Sorry, Mandi, in case the Moonrakers title didn't do it. For those of you who are familiar with the show, there's a Korean movie called Space Sweepers. It is on Netflix. I love this movie. It's not quite Firefly vibe, but you've got this kind of motley crew, and they have to work together to rescue a child, basically. It's got some dark elements. Sometimes Korean shows go a little heavy on a couple of things that happen, or like character backstories. So you might want to check the content warnings on it before you watch it, but I love Space Sweepers. And my mental canon for Moonrakers is it's Space Sweepers, the board game. Anyway, all right. So like so many deck builders, you're going to have a starting deck of cards, and you're going to be building that up throughout the game. Your starting deck is basically resources like energy, and then there are attack and defense cards in that mix. As you're going through the game, you're going to be gaining ship parts because you have a little player board. So you can have 4 slots to build up your ship. Ship parts typically give you new ongoing abilities and things like that. They also give you new cards. It is a way to get new cards into your deck, new basic cards into your deck, I should say. And you can recruit crew. And crew cards basically operate like they go into your deck. Ship parts go on your board, crew go into your deck, and you're going to, they're going to give you more attack, more defense, more resources so that you can get even better things. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to complete missions. Missions may be turn in 5 energy and 3 attack to conquer this mission. And then you get points. Cool. Points are good because the game ends and the winner wins with 10 points. So you play until somebody hits 10 points. Awesome. So you're building up your deck, you're playing it. But hey, 5 energy and 3 attack is really, really hard to get. How are you going to do that? Well, you semi-cooperate. So what you can do on every mission is the person who's in control, the person whose turn is, can be like, Mandi, can you help me do this mission? I'm going to try to do this mission. Can you help me? Yeah? Okay, I will give you, because every card has rewards, I'll give you 5 of the 8 coins, but I get to keep the point. And you could be like, no, I want all of the coins, and you can keep the point. And then I can be like, forget you, Josh, I'll give you 5 of the coins, right? And you kind of do that. Or maybe it's like, Josh, maybe we need all 3 of us. So I can be like, Josh, Mandi, I'll give you both 4 coins if you can help me finish this mission, because I really want that point, or whatever other rewards it gives, right? That kind of thing. So you're negotiating to do these missions. Cool. You do it or you don't. Yay. Rewards can be things like that. Every card also has a challenge or a threat dice. There's some dice and you have to roll threat. Threat dice at the end will do damage to you if you haven't played defense cards. Cool. Alrighty. So there's that semi-cooperative and negotiation element to the game. Like I said, 10 points finishes the game. Bob's your uncle. It's pretty simple. Now, I have the Titan edition, and the Titan edition was like this. The box is massive. It's got this huge insert. It took me freaking forever to figure out how to sort cards into this insert. And like time on BGG and all that stuff. But so it has some expansions in it as well. I'm just talking about the base game right now. I love this game. Like, I'm so glad I got it, and I really, really enjoy it in general. In spite of, I usually don't like semi-cooperative in a game, and I usually don't like negotiation in a game. So the fact that I enjoy Moonrakers so much, yeah, exactly, man. I see your face there. Like, the fact that I enjoyed Moonrakers so much when it has those core mechanisms I don't typically like, I think that says something about the game and how it implements those elements, because it just works. You almost have to semi-cooperate and negotiate and team up on early missions. You're just not going to be able to do them with your basic hand early game. And it's almost like Kemet, where there's no benefit to turtling. You have to be aggressive. In Kemet, I think here you have to work together to some layer. And then sure enough, mid-game, a switch flips, and then you're kind of just in it on your own. But you kind of have that ramp up where you're working together. And I think the negotiation is really interesting because you can negotiate technically everything. The rewards, the threat dice. So I can be like, Mandi, I'll give you the points. So if a mission card has 2 points, I can be like, Mandi, I'll give you a point and all the coins if you take all the threat dice. And I actually found that very compelling and very fun to do in this game for some reason. And the other thing I want to bring up, so the first maybe negative thing is it's that race to 10 points. So you can get to the thing where I call it the Munchkin ending, where somebody's in the lead and then they become the quote unquote target. Right. All of a sudden nobody wants to help you or things like that when you're getting to the top. I think it's not that quite like that, but it does have that kind of, once you're at the top, nobody's going to help you. Nobody's going to work with you. Right. Because they know you're going to win. But beyond that, the thing that really shines in Moonrakers for me, Mandy, you've played a bunch of deck building cards.
Mhm.
One of the first things you want to do in most deck building is you want to thin your deck, right? Like
Ah.
Dominion, we talked about. You want to get rid of the starter cards. You want to get rid of the weak cards. You want to get rid of those janky cards. Moonrakers is different. Instead of thinning your deck, which there are mechanisms to do that. You can thin your deck over time, depending on how you play and what you get. What Moonrakers does is it cycles through your deck very quickly every round. So instead of like trying to make it so you only pull good cards, you're just the thicker, like you're just going to go through card after card, and there's combos that you could create where you're
Neat.
pulling even more cards out of your deck, getting those combos, getting power turns, things like that. And I thought flipping that typical deck building trope on its head was just fabulous in Moonrakers. I love speeding through my deck. I love building out these combos. I love building out this powerful energy system where I can do almost anything I want to do.
Yeah.
And it works so well here. And there's an element to this semi-cooperative element where you may want to help because it helps you cycle through your deck faster too. If you've got a crap hand on your turn, Mandy, and it's my turn, you could be like, Suze, can I help you for 1 coin because just because you want to move through your hand, you want to get rid of your hand.
Right.
All of that works fabulously well in Moonrakers. It's got a cool vibe, a cool look, very strong component quality from Ivy Studios. I can't wait to dive into more of the expansions. The Titan Edition came with a number of the expansions. I'm debating about really trying to pick up more at Gen Con when I go because I'm enjoying this so much.
Wow.
I have enough content. I haven't played through. I mean, it's so tempting. But yeah, Moonrakers really lived up to the 5-year-old hype. I'm behind the times, but it was worth the wait.
I've heard good things about this game. I mean, the space theme doesn't call my name, but I like the sounds of it. And as someone who knows you're supposed to thin your deck, but I play like I play an RPG and I hoard cards that I know I shouldn't,
Sure.
this might be the game for me.
I mean, other than the space theme.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's real fun, Mandy. It's real fun.
All right, one to add to the list, at least to check it out. Well, I'm ready for this game, and I know if you're listening, you can't see it, but I have on my Living Dead Girl shirt on, and if you know the song, you know the artist. I'm going to leave it there so you can talk about it in the chat, but Gold Star if you know who it is. Do you know who it is?
I don't know. That's not my genre.
Oh, that's a fair point. Sorry, I shouldn't put you on the spot. But there you go.
That's
people
okay.
might. Living Dead Girl. Okay, so the game I'm going to talk about next is Night Cage and Shrieking Hollow expansion. So, wow, I have a thing for tile-laying games, it seems, this podcast. But all right, theme is good. Designed by Christopher Ryan Chan, Chris McMahon, and Roswell Saunders. Art is by Christopher Ryan Chan, and it's published by Smirk and Laughter Games. I always forget that the name has changed slightly, so takes me a minute to remember. It's for 1 to 5 players. It plays in about 40 to 60 minutes, which is pretty accurate, actually. And the base game retails for about 45 Canadian, and the expansion's about $31 Canadian. So Night Cage is cooperative, and it is horror-themed tile placement game. And the description they give is that it traps 1 to 5 lost souls within an unnatural labyrinth of eternal darkness. Now, if that doesn't say that's a good theme, I know you're like, not for me. But to win, each of the players, you have to find a key, find a gate, and escape as a group. So that's that whole cooperative element. The cool thing about this game is light gets weaker the farther you are away from certain tiles. So let me just give you a little background on how it's set up. Because there's an we played with the expansion as well, there's the main board, and it's a board that has like squared, like almost like a grid, because you're going to be able to put tiles on that board. Then you have a slightly like half the size of that board for the expansion. And this is like another area that you could jump into, potentially, I shouldn't say jump, drop into, depending on a tile that's pulled. So you're like, where am I getting these tiles? They have this thing you put together. It looks like a candle. And obviously the more tiles you pull, right, the light gets less and less and less. So you don't want to get down to the bottom because then, it's game over. Did y'all get out? If not, then you've lost. Or the monsters may have gotten you. That's something else. But on a turn, you're going to pull out your tile, and you're going to, because you have your people on the board, place the tile, and whatever is adjacent to that area, if it hasn't already been lit, you're going to be able to light those areas. So we're going to put tiles wherever it's lit from that tile. Sometimes the pathing doesn't work out in a way that you're able to light that area, right? Because maybe there's already a tile there or something like that. Some of these tiles get flipped over, so they're no longer, because we have tiles that are like pits and things, or things that you can fall into to drop you into that other side. So those kinds of things will get removed. So if you move further into the game, those tiles are no longer lit, those tiles are gone. Then when you move and put out a new tile, now you're lighting the area on the tile that you're on around that tile based on the pathing that's there. And so obviously you're trying to make paths. If you pull gates, you want to try and make sure that you're putting paths to a gate that that you can get out of, or at least have easy access to. Obviously you need to find a key first, which also needs to be a tile that's pulled out, and everybody's got to get a key. So that's just like the basic game, and you want to do that obviously before light runs out or tiles are running out. In the expansion, you also have these like monster tiles, and they're big. Like they come in on the expansion board, and they are, I don't know how to explain them. They're at the width of like 4 tiles. And when they move down, and they can come over to like remove tiles, drop you out of an area, push you back, so knock you out. And these can come into play based on tiles that are pulled. And certain tiles will also pull in, kind of plagues. Like if you get 3 of this type of tile, now this monster might come out, or something that knocks you out. So makes it harder for you to move, to light different areas, to get your key, and to get out. That was literally the game. So somebody on our group kept taking the hit of going into like the expansion areas. They're like, okay, let's try and go in here, open up just to get some other tiles out on the board, get a key, maybe come back in. Well, they ended up getting in there and knocked back out onto the board. I'm like, okay, you got to get a key. We got to get out of here. You know what I mean? So there are ways to just move. There are ways to get move and tile, and other ways like that. So I liked the theme of this game. I wasn't sure where it was going to go, but I like the fact that it played in a really decent amount of time. I liked the addition of some of like the monsters and the added elements of like falling into like a separate board, so you can hopefully keep the monster away from maybe the rest of everybody else. I don't know. That's kind of somebody has to take one for the team. Why not? So I thought that the concept was really cool. I mean, I like the theme. It's dark. I like the whole point of like placing out the tiles, the theme of like lighting an area. Like it just made sense. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I'm thinking if you would like this, Suzanne. I think the theme is not dark enough for you to be like, oh my gosh, I'm never playing this. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not scary in that sense. I mean, sure, you could make it that way, but it really isn't. I think when you look at it, I think it's a smart game. Very straightforward. I'm thinking of replayability, and I don't know. I think our group decided that yes, it's one that you could with the expansions on its own. I think you might find it's a little repetitive, but I think adding the expansion with the different elements and things that change up the game a little bit, I think people would enjoy that. They're not too challenging to add, but it does change the way the game plays. So the Night Cage, I enjoyed it. My group really enjoyed it. Even if you're not a co-op player, I think you still, I hate to say you can work individually, but yes, you can kind of carve out your own path, but also help people. Like that doesn't have to be like your sole focus, I guess. And adding those monsters and elements makes it interactive. I think that's the interactive and fun. So Night Cage and Shrieking Hollow expansion for me. If you like tile-laying games, something that plays in a short amount of time, that's not overly complicated, I think you will like this one.
All right. Thank you for that. Very cool. And kind of theoretically darker themed, my last game of the show, Dracula versus Van Helsing. This is designed by Maxime Rambourg and Theo Riviere, and it's got illustrations by Weberson Santiago. It was originally published by Mandu Games out of Korea, and it's distributed in North America by 25th Century Games, who, quite frankly, I think in general, 25th Century has really interesting taste on what they pick up from the global market, and really tend to think that they have pretty good choices that they choose to bring over. And so I'm excited to see this. Dracula versus Van Helsing, 2-player only game. Some people call it a trick-taking game. Ooh. I don't know. I see your face, Mandy. You're like, ooh, I disagree with categorizing it that way, quite frankly, but we'll get into it a little bit. Basically, you've got a board. It's got 5 little regions outlined on it. You get little people tokens. You put 4 in each region. Each player gets a little wooden rack that you get to store your cards in. And they have different colors that are essentially suits in different ranks, like a card game, sure. And basically, to win the game, Van Helsing needs to either kill Dracula. Dracula has 12 health points, or Dracula to win needs to turn 4 people in the 4 people in a region into vampires in a single district.
Okay.
Or if you can't do either of those, 5 rounds. You play through 5 rounds. All right, okay, cool. Let's start off randomly with, not about the gameplay, but those cards. They're interesting. They're thicker than cards, but thinner than a tile. They're like extra thick cardstock. I don't know quite how to describe them. You can't shuffle them. So they're too, like, you can't riffle shuffle them for sure. They're not cards. They're not tiles. I wish they'd gone one way or the other, quite frankly. And when you look online, it's interesting because you see some questions about how do I sleeve these people, because they do get randomized, right? They're treated essentially like cards, but you can't protect them. And people who choose to sleeve their cards are like, well, how do I do that on these weird tiles, and they're awkwardly sized and things like that. Interesting component choice. I don't actually love it. They're very high quality. I wish that they had picked either high quality cards or gone more with actual tiles. Oh well, okay, that is there. To play the game, you got a deck of these cards. I don't know what I'm going to call them, and you get a hand of them, and you put them without changing their order. You put them in your rack, secret to you. Cool.
Right.
Then on your turn, you're going to draw a card, and then you can either replace a card in your rack with it, or you can just discard the card that you drew. Whatever card gets discarded, you activate the ability on that card. Those abilities can be things like reveal a card of yours, reveal an opponent's card, swap card positions on your rack, or swap a card with an opponent, etc., etc. Oh yeah, that swap a card with an opponent, that's a thing that happens. Alrighty. Then after you play through, after everybody's happy with their setup, or you run through the entire deck, then you resolve the round. One at a time, you reveal the card, and then there is a suit rank, and then the highest value there. So it's the highest value card on the highest value suit wins. And then if it's Van Helsing, you do a point of damage. If it's Dracula, you turn a human into a vampire. Next card, you do the same thing. Cards are associated in your rack. There are 5 regions. You have 5 cards in your rack. So the first card is associated with region 1. The second card is associated with region 2. So if Dracula is really trying to turn the last human in region 2, you know that that player is going to really be playing a power card in the second position on the rack, that kind of thing.
Right.
You play through that. Whoever wins, wins. It's an interesting game, and I like it. First of all, the Weberson Santiago art is gorgeous. Of course,
Nice.
Weberson Santiago is a phenomenally cool illustrator. I love their style so much. There are some complaints that it is too easy to win as Dracula, or to flip that coin, it is too difficult to win as Van Helsing. And there are some rules online that you can nerf, like bring Dracula down to 10 health points instead of 12, that kind of thing. I played this 3 times with one person and once with another person so far. And I'll be honest, I think Dracula won. Actually, Dracula only won 2 of those games and Van Helsing won. So I haven't necessarily encountered that, but I'm sure maybe as you become more expert, maybe that's an issue. I think it's clever. I think it's interesting. There's a lot of mind games. There is player interaction. If you don't, if you're working to perfect your little setup and then somebody swaps cards with you, if you don't like that kind of interaction, this is not the game for you. But I think the way that the cards work, they call it trick taking, Mandi, because the cards do have a suit rank. And as you reveal, the suit rank and the power of the card does resolve who wins. I don't consider that trick taking. Whatever. I'm not going to nitpick over terminology here, but to set expectations there.
Sure.
I like this one. It's going to stay in my collection as in my little 2-player only shelf. That's Dracula versus Van Helsing.
Don't even think I've heard of this game. So is it fairly new?
It originally came out from Mondu Games a little while ago. I don't think it's new, to be honest with you. I'm looking at it. I'm trying to look it up right now.
Okay. Yeah, no, I had not heard of it, but I mean, it sounds cool.
I mean, I know with you sometimes 2-player games, and if your mom doesn't like it, it's a couple years old. If your mom doesn't like it, you're not going to play it, but there you go.
Okay. Good to know.
Alrighty, that's all the stuff we've been playing. We will have more games next episode, but before we can cap it off, of course, we need to serve up some board game dessert. It's that time, folks. It's time for your board game dessert. It's time for Game Pie. Of course, Game Pie is when Mandi and I serve up a selection of games based on our whims and our excellent taste, because we hate ranking things like a top 10, but we love tasty, tasty treats and throwing all the good stuff in there. Hence, Game Pie. And the Game Pie of the week, skillfully selected by Mandi, are the games we like best at 3 players. Good choice, Mandi. And definitely prodded me to think, because I think that there are games, we say this, you as we were talking earlier, what do we say about some games, right?
Oh, there's somebody like, this game is definitely meant for 3 players or 2 players or whatever.
We say that all the time, and then you made this game Pi, and then I started racking my brains for which games I say that on. Couldn't think of a one.
I know, right? Of course.
Right? Couldn't
That's what
think
it
of a
was.
one. So took me a little while on this one, but I love the idea. I love the topic. So great job. Why don't you, as per tradition, serve up the first slice?
Sure. So we had a little switcheroo, and I realized in the switcheroo, I switched all yours and didn't switch any of mine. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about, it's a new program. Anyway, long story short, the titles are going to favor your side of the screen. So if you're watching this on the video, it is what it is, but my name will be on it.
Okay.
So the first slice of Games Best at 3 Pi for me, and please feel free, you may disagree, is Root. So Root is one of those, I think it plays up to 5. I can't even remember. It's been a while since I played it. But Root is one of those games where, everybody has a character that does something different. And when you get to a higher player count, I think it's the Vagabond, there's another character that gets added, but you don't normally play with that one, which a lot of people said can make the game feel a little swingy. I personally like that character, but it is what it is.
Vagabond.
3 is a nice level because it's like the right mix of factions. Do you know what I mean? So you get, I think that the cats are one they usually recommend you play with. The birds are usually a really popular one. That's the programming one. I think it's been a hot minute. But 3 gives you like a nice taste of the game. And if you're familiar with playing, okay, you can get a good synergy going. Doesn't mean you can't play at higher player counts. But even when we played our game, Suzanne, you, me, and Ashley, yes, I bring it up all the time because I want. That never happens. And if you ever want to see Ashley's face, go to the video. It's priceless. It's amazing. Yes. Thank you. So Root at 3 is great for me because I seemingly do really well at it, but it's like just enough interaction and getting a flavor of the game with the different characters that I like it at 3. So that is a Root. First
up for me is, in a similar vein, Dune Imperium, because Dune Imperium is a deck building worker placement game that is set in the Dune universe from Direwolf Games. One of my favorite games of all time, but I do think it shines at 3 because of how worker placement works, where you are blocking out other people from spaces to get resources or take actions and things like that. And I find that the combat, you don't lose anything at 3 players versus 4 players in terms of the combat or things like that. And I think that from a worker placement blocking, it's the right balance. At 2, I think it's maybe a little too open for in terms of blocking, but at 3, I think it really sings in terms of how many space are being blocked, how many of the cards in the card market are being purchased and cycled through as well. And I think that those mechanical elements with 3 players, I think Dune Imperium cruises at that player count. 3 players.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one for sure. Definitely a nice count there. The next slice of pie for me is The Search for Planet X. And I think my decision on this one is solely that 3 players means quicker turns. This is one of those games where, I can get inside your head a little bit and analyzing. It's deduction. You're trying to, figure out like I say puzzle, but you're trying to figure it out, and it takes you a minute to look at the information you have, the information that's been revealed. It definitely takes some time for you to go through it, and everyone's kind of doing the same thing. But I feel at 3 players, it gives everybody enough time to take things in, play out their turn without it feeling like it's pulling or dragging. And now that I think about it, I think I've mostly played this game at either 2 or 3, but I really did enjoy the interaction and quick turns, but still feeling fulfilled with 3 players. So The Search for Planet X for me, I thoroughly enjoyed it 3 players.
Similarly, I just played Search for Planet X again recently. I played it a bunch. I love this game.
Yeah.
But a friend hadn't played it before, so we pulled it out. Had a great time. 3-player game. There you go.
Ah, see?
All right, next slice up for me. Star Wars Outer Rim. This is a pick up and deliver game set in the Star Wars universe. My friends Josh and Melissa taught it to me years ago at a convention. I love this game. It's, I think, probably my favorite Star Wars game in general. It's just phenomenal pick up and deliver. And I think at 3, it really is about balancing that playtime, quite frankly. It's got enough that, the routes on the board and things like that, again, moving the market of things that are available. I think at 3, it really balances that nicely. I think at more, it drags just maybe a touch longer than you want. And at 2, maybe you get a little less of the interaction and the cycling that you want to see out of a game like this, and a little bit less of the competition that you want for some of the stuff that's out there on the board. So Star Wars Outer Rim, I prefer to play it at 3, but hey, if I can't play it at 3, I'll play it at any player count because I love that game.
No, that's I still haven't played this game. I really need.
There's so many games, Mandy. There's so many games.
All right. Well, my next slice is going to be a bit of a controversial take because this is actually listed as a 2-player game, but I've cheated and played with 3.
Interesting. right.
And that is Arkham Horror, the card game. So it is designated as a two-player game, but
Hmm.
I like playing it with three. And you're like, oh, it's going to take longer.
Well,
But
it's
it's co-op.
cooperative.
Exactly. It's cooperative. And I feel like adding that third player changes the level of difficulty because playing with two, it's hard. Like, I mean, it's not meant to be an easy game. I get that. But maybe you're just like, oh my goodness, there's a lot going on. But if you add a third player, you get a variety of character abilities and story there, and you can manage the difficulty a little bit better. Now, I'm not saying you have to play it. I just like playing it at this player count because it does lessen the level of difficulty for us. And we still have a really good time playing and getting that interaction with the other characters. Now, I do have to caveat that by saying it is a two-player game, and I think they say it's meant to be played best count at two. I beg to differ. I like it at three. I'm sure there'll be comments about this one in the chat. I 100% know there will be, but that's just how I like to play it.
I
So
actually
that
think
is
that's brilliant. I love that.
Arkham Horror, the card game. So I don't know.
Good for you. All right. Next slice up for me, not a cheat. I will just say it's Forgotten Waters from Plaid Hat Games. But I will say that I think my opinion expands to all the games in this kind of genre that Plaid Hat produces, which is Forgotten Waters, Freelancers, and Wandering Galaxy. Because I've played Forgotten Waters and Freelancers a number of times, but Wandering Galaxies I've only played once. But anyway,
Sure.
all right. Forgotten Waters, these are immersive action, selection, adventure games. Each one's a little different, but in Forgotten Waters, you're pirate crew and you're exploring the ocean and you're traveling to different locations. When you get to a location, they have different things to explore, different actions to take. You have combat actions when you run into things like that, or you have to talk to some pirate and convince them to turn over a key or all sorts of stuff like that. It's got great app or digital integration and things like that. And I love this game, great system. Cool. I think it's best at three for a few reasons. I think it finds a good balance between playtime, how much everybody gets to do, and still fully feeling like you get the narrative experience, because every one of these locations has a number of spots you can go to and you want to dig into them because there's cool, fun things to do at some of the unique locations at every spot. That's awesome. At the same time, there are different things for you to control on the ship, like the cannons and reloading and things like that. If you're playing it with two, it's a lot to manage. Three throws in that extra person, so you kind of spread out the management a little bit more and you can take those actions. You get enough actions to do what you want to do, but again, you're streamlining that playtime just a little bit more. So I think the Forgotten Waters and all of those games in that system really sing at three.
Hey, no, very cool. Yes, and I see. I totally see where you're going with that one. Okay, well, I had a last minute change here. So I'm just going to throw it out there. And I'm actually going to say the Elder Scrolls, the new chip theory game. I've been playing it quite a bit with four, and it's fine. But I'm really thinking three is the better player count. And it's because at four, I mean, it's a long game, but four, it's really long.
Sure, I can
So
see that. Yeah,
it
I can see that.
really pulls the game. And for us, we're having fun. It's a good time. And you know what I mean? For us, not a big deal. Like we're friends that hang out all the time. And it's, we're happy to have that conversation and chat. For people who are like, now I want to get to the mission, do the things, strategize, get to the point, you're going to hate four players. I honestly think three would be a sweet spot where you're getting a variety of characters, but you're still getting through the mission in a reasonable amount of time. Didn't initially think about it, and I've just been thinking about how our games are progressing, and I do think the Elder Scrolls game is definitely meant to be played at a lower count, and I beg to say three would probably be a nice one. Nice count.
Nice. You snuck in another slice.
I know, I changed it at the last
Naughty
minute.
girl,
Sorry.
you. Nice work. Well, I don't know if this is a cheat or not, but to heck with it. I'm going to say my last slice of games best at three are the exit games, the exit puzzle, escape room, whatever you want to call them games. I like these games best at three. And this is why. Exit games, they have a huge range of complexity, setting, puzzles, things like that. And you can solo them if you want to. I've tried. My brain isn't big enough to do that because everybody's brains work differently, right? Like I have friends who are phenomenal at the math part. As soon as a math puzzle comes up, I'm dead in the water. But thankfully, I have friends that are really good at math, whereas I'm really good at pattern recognition or some of the things on that front. Or, when you have to look at a card or a component at a weird angle. I tend to glom onto those pretty quickly. I like 3 because I think you get enough brains that think differently and have different skill sets into the mix so that you can tackle the wide variety of challenges in a game.
Right.
But one of the things about exit games, it's hard to share them. You have one booklet in there, and oftentimes only one person can be working on a puzzle at a time and that kind of thing. I think that at 3, you have a nice mix of brains, and you have the ability, with a little bit of help, to engage in the game without just sitting there and twiddling your thumbs. I find at 4, you're instantly disengaged from some of the puzzling, just in general. So exit games, I really enjoy at 3. And the way we solve the kind of the component limitations, we all take out our phones. Say what you want about phones at the table. We take out our phones and we take photos of the booklets.
Yeah.
And then we can be on our phones looking for the hints and the clues. We do that too. Well, yeah. So there you go. Yeah. Exit games, I like them at 3.
No, I definitely see that. As someone who is not one to, I will pull back if there are too many people, like too many cooks in the kitchen. Yeah, I definitely think 3 is a nice number there.
Yeah. So there you have it. Games that we enjoy best at 3 players. Now, even when we were forming this list, I asked Mandi, I'm surprised you don't list Grand Austria Hotel, which is widely said in the hobby to be best at 3. And Mandi, what did you say?
Anybody I've played with likes it at 2. Now, I personally don't care. I'll play it at 4. I mean, for me, I like it at 4. It's long, but I don't mind. 3's great too, but I tell you, people I've played with it like it at 2-player count. I don't know if they just find it snappier. I personally don't you feel like you need more challenge with another player? No, they like us. They feel it's a lot smoother at 2 players. I know. I feel like I have a lot of controversial picks here. So this should be interesting in our forum.
Well, yeah. So and part of that was just me trying to get ahead of the what about Grand Austria Hotel comments. So there you go.
Yeah, of course.
But if you have thoughts on games that you think are best at 3, or maybe one of the games we listed, you're like, why would you play that at 3? That's terrible player count. Hey, we're open to that kind of feedback. You can always email us at saltandsassgames@gmail.com and send in those comments that way. Or you can make a comment on the Board Game Geek thread. That is boardgamegeek.com, guild number 4131, or you can just search for Salt and Sass and chime in on the episode thread there. Also, encourage you folks, and Mandi and I are trying out this new recording software and methodology. If you have any comments about any of the production or how we're handling that, we're very open to that input as well. So feel free to comment on either of those 2 venues, or just yell at us at social media, right, Mandi?
Yeah, because people, hey, I love it. You find us and tell us all the things. They're usually very nice, so thank you. You can, you might be potentially watching this right now on the YouTube, or you can even watch us doing live streams on the Twitch, and you can find us there at Salt and Sass Games. That's Salt and Sass Games. We are also on the Blue Sky, but we kept it professional there, so it's just Salt and Sass. You can find us there at Salt and Sass. You can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky. I think that's it these days at 613 Mandi. That's Mandi with an I. How about you, Suzanne?
And you can find me on Blue Sky. I am at 425 Suzanne. Heyo, next episode, I think, Mandi, we will be doing our Gen Con anticipation game pie, because we are rapidly approaching that event this year.
Oh my gosh, I have to look at that list.
Right? And for those of you listening who made it all the way to the end of the episode, and Mandi, we may have to cover this in the beginning of the episode next 74. Yeah. But the Spiel des Jahres, the Spiel games were just announced, basically.
Yes, that's right.
So really fun selection, Mandi. In case you didn't know, Bomb Busters won. The Spiel des Jahres.
Oh, it won. Okay, I didn't know who had won yet, so.
Yeah, it just announced. I am thrilled. Bomb Busters is a phenomenal cooperative deduction game. Endeavor Deep Sea won the Kenner Spiel as well, and then Top de Tort, which I haven't played because won the Kinderspiel, the kids game. So
yeah, I haven't played.
Congrats to all the winners. Super extra special congrats from me to Bomb Busters. I do feel like the right game won the Spiel.
I hate to say it, Eric Lang. You were right. He called it.
He called it. Well, good. He called it well. So there you go. Hey, until next episode, when we're going to be talking about all that Gen Con goodness, just take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, stay hydrated, and play a lot of games. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Promotional consideration has been provided by game publishers in the form of review copies of games. If you'd like to support the podcast, please check us out on coffee.com/saltandsassgames. Thank you for your support. We are also part of the Goonhammer Media Network. Check out more of their content on media.goonhammer.com. Salt and Sass is produced with love by Mandi and Suzanne, and we'll be back next episode with more salt, more sass, and more games.